so for the other part, oh, the mom wanted me to put Charlton to sleep around 6 o'clock. Yeah, like almost 6 before I left to sleep, so they could have dinner in peace. And those are her exact words. I am not making that up. And there were like 2 or 3 times where I put Charlton to sleep before the time I usually do. I think it was like I timed it where I would normally put him to sleep, like I would try at 5:45, 5:50, and then it'd be 6 o'clock. But there were times where I put him down like 5:30 or before 5:30. And this one time she came down the stairs and I was playing with Marcus, and before that I would put him to sleep earlier because he was just a fussy baby, and if he was really overly tired, over exhausted, I would put him down earlier. I wasn't gonna let him cry and fuss for 30 more minutes. I just felt that was wrong. She was a very go by the clock kind of person, where I'm like, go by what the baby is telling you. Like, he showed all the signs of a sleepy, tired baby. Rub his eyes, cranky, tired, just all those signs. I mean, he was, I wouldn't say cranky, but fussy most of the day, always wanted to be held. So that wasn't anything new, but it was like 2 times more than that. So I put him to sleep, and there was this one time she comes down the stairs, she goes to the kitchen, and me and Marcus were playing, or whatever we were doing, I don't remember, and she says, "Oh, where's Charlton?" I said, "Oh, he's asleep." And she says, "He's asleep? That's supposed to put him to sleep until 6 o'clock. We're not going to be able to eat dinner by ourselves in peace." That was kind of the gist of what she said. She was really pissed when I put him to sleep early. She was very pissed. She wanted to eat her dinner in peace, whatever that means, because he was a very clingy, fussy baby, so she wanted to eat without that. So yeah, I just felt that was very, I don't know, my mind was blown. Like, seriously, you are upset that I put your kid to sleep 20 minutes earlier just so you could sit down and eat dinner quietly without any interruptions from him? That is just crazy. It's like, you had kids, and you knew when you had kids that your life as a single or married, just the two of you, is over. Like, you're never gonna have dinner in peace. You are never gonna be able to watch a show fully until they are asleep. It's like, that's just what parenthood comes with. Like, you have to sacrifice that. You have to give that up. And I was just like, seriously, you are upset because I put your kid to sleep 20 minutes early, 30 minutes early, and you are seriously pissed about that? Like, that just blew my mind. Like I said before, I only did it 2 or 3 times out of from August to January. But most of the time I was really debating, like, should I really put him to sleep early? Because then I would have to deal with her, complaining or bitchiness, if you will. Because that's what I would call it. It's like very childish. Like, you are not arguing, but you are mad because I put your kid to sleep early than normal time. Like, really? That is beyond me. Your kid is not a clock. Your kid tells you when he or she is ready to go to sleep, not the damn clock. The mom would hardly ever come down the stairs and like check on us. Maybe once in a while. The dad mainly did because he always got water and stuff, and he kind of would kind of reinforce like my discipline, maybe not in the way I would agree with, but like there was one time where, quite a few times, where Marcus pushed Charlton, hit him, bit him, whatever, squeezed him, I would send him right to timeout, no questions asked. And he knew with me, he knew it was coming. I did it every single time, no fail. And sometimes he would do it, and I would act like I didn't see it, and then he would do it again. I said, okay, your tush is going in the timeout room. And their timeout room was, it was like a laundry room, I would say. They didn't have the washer and dryer, but I think it was kind of meant for that. But they had the washer and dryer in the garage, so it was like a little room that had the fridge, had a table with the changing pad, had cabinets where all the boys' clothes were at. Hanging from the doors were, you know, jackets, t-shirts, Marcus's t-shirts. In the cupboard was the baby's sleepers. He lived in sleepers. He lived in those. Marcus's, you know, sweatpants, lived in those. Shirts, some shirts, shorts, that kind of stuff. Everything to do with the boys was in there, clothing wise and stuff, and diapers and wipes and everything. So his timeout was in that area. So, and there was a few times where, yeah, I would put him in there, and the dad would come down and say, "Where's Marcus?" And I would say, "He's in timeout." And he would be like, "Oh, what'd you do? Why'd you do it?" And then he would shut the door and hold it. And she did it as well a few times. And then Marcus would kick the door, like scream bloody murder and kick the door. And I think it wasn't like, I think his scream was more of like a fear, like you're shutting the door and you're not gonna let me out forever, like that kind of fear. It wasn't a fear of like, it wasn't a scream like I'm getting attention. It wasn't that kind of scream. It was like, I'm afraid of the dark and you are keeping me in here against my will, kind of thing. And they did that a few times, and I was like, first time they did it, I was like, oh my goodness, my jaw was like on the floor. I was like flabbergasted. I was like, is this seriously happening right now? I've never seen it before. Just blew my mind. I'm like, you were really doing this to your kid? My mind was blown. So, and they did that a few times. I never did that. I do not condone it at all. I was thinking, like, you're seriously holding the door against your 3-year-old? He was sitting there perfectly fine, and you just have to shut the door and hold it? Like, really? Like, you were feeding into that. And with me, when I put him in timeout, when, you know, nobody else was around, when I would put him in timeout, he would come out and say, I'm sorry. I'd say, nope, go back in there. And I'd say, you're 3 minutes, it's not up yet. Go back in timeout. And if he kept going out, I kept putting him in there. I wouldn't say a word, I kept putting him in there. And yes, it was a struggle. And that kid spent a lot of time in timeout, because every time if he hit me, which was very rare, but if he hit me or hit his brother or did something that he shouldn't be doing, straight in timeout. So I was on him all day. He was in timeout probably more times than you can count on your fingers. It was that crazy. And I was trying to, get his behavior in order, and then they come in and kind of, I would say, like, ruin it, holding the door. It's like, really, what does that solve? That doesn't solve anything. That just makes him even more angry and more resentful against you. And I wonder how their relationship is now, because it's like a kid would be really scarred after that, really have some emotional problems, and maybe that has something to do with why he was so abusive to his brother. So, yeah, I was there until January when they were packing up, getting ready to move. I spent 10 days. I worked 10 days straight there. Of course, I came home and, went to sleep, but the next day I went over there and worked 10 days straight. Did not have a break. And after that, I was a complete zombie wreck. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was physically exhausted, like on the cusp of exhaustion. And I wasn't just taking care of the boys, I was helping them pack. I was doing everything else, plus, taking care of the boys, plus packing, everything. And it was just crazy. So, at first I did miss them. I really did. On our last day, we went to pick up some lunch with the mom, and I took a very sweet picture. I don't know if I'll show it, but I took a very sweet picture of the baby, and I kept it on my phone for over a year. That's how much I love those boys. I had quite a few pictures of him on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this was our last day. Hopefully you can see it. There you go. He had a little monkey hat on, and he was in like a little, that day was very, very cold and kind of windy. It was like early January, and that was our kind of cold. That was, yeah, the 2010. It was always raining, and it was kind of our colder year. So he had a little monkey hat on, and